We're continuing to see the tech side of the Quest really advance. We've brought to you multiple experiences before that show what the limits of the Quest 3 have been so far, from things like Gaussian splatting making very realistic mixed reality holograms appear in the room around you, like in Gracia where we showed you the dancer in the room or the sushi chef, and you can walk around these and see action happening in real time in front of you, to tech demos that have some of the most hyper-realistic graphics of environments around you on the Quest and things that you can see, or even the fine details walking around in a wood shop or an auto shop, seeing all the little shelves and graphics taken from just an iPhone, with multiple pictures being spliced together in a way that recreates the environment. And now, in one of the newest advances, Meta researchers are showing how they can generate the photorealistic avatars we've talked about them trying to develop for years just from 4 selfies. 4 different angles of your face can create a large reconstruction model, and that makes an animatable photorealistic avatar head in minutes. And if you've been in this realm much, you know that the toughest thing about creating these avatars is the amount of information it needs to get from your face, the scanners you need, 3D scanners. So now the fact that phones are getting to this point where we can really just take a few pictures and then AI can fill in the gaps is pretty amazing. Similar to how the Apple Vision Pro uses its scanners and cameras to scan your face, you would be able to just take out your phone, 4 quick photos, and then you'd be able to go into meetings on your Quest or use avatars with a face that does look a lot more like your own. Although they are saying this is just a road to the eventual product, because right now this would be a pretty rudimentary face that you would be using. It shows that we're on track possibly to those avatars that don't look like that infamous photo of Zuckerberg from years ago in front of the Eiffel Tower that looked just terrible, and we can finally get away from the cartoony avatars and start looking like our real selves if we want to. What do you think about that? Do you like going in these fantasy worlds and changing up your appearance, or if you could, would you like to have a face that looked a lot like your own inside of VR or MR experiences? In a move that so far has only caused a lot of confusion, people are noticing that Meta has delisted some games from its store, all of them from Toast Interactive, the creators of Richie's Plank Experience and Max Mustard. This is a very new and developing story, and even by the time this video comes out, there may be some more details on what's going on. But basically right now, the games have all been pulled under some sort of an umbrella of platform abuse policy, with the developer acknowledging and responding, saying that this was a unilateral decision from Meta. The store page still exists, but it says, quote, "This app is out of compliance with Meta's platform abuse policy," end quote, at the top. News outlets were thinking that this might have just been a technical issue or a mess up, but Toast Interactive has made a comment that they feel betrayed and powerless on many levels, and said that Meta has chosen to remove them and their games. Unfortunately, at this point, no more details are given, but it's already led to people on Reddit asking why, what does this mean? And the timing does get more tricky, seeing that recently a lot of developers have been speaking out about how they feel about the Meta store, about the pushing of free-to-play games over their paid games. But at this point, it's too early to really make any decision on what this can mean, because as we've seen with a lot of big companies, when they ban something, even when a channel is demonetized on YouTube, what they'll do is they'll just say you're out of compliance with something in the policy, and they won't make any specific statement on what exactly it is, leaving you to have to pore over pages of policies to try and figure out what it is that's out of compliance to see if you can get back in. So far, Toast Interactive does say that Meta has given them a reason though, but they can't talk about it yet, meaning that hopefully they've given them more specific guidance on why they decided to pull their games. This, of course, at a time where there's a lot of confusion going on, a lot of questions, and a lot circulating about how the store has been running with the free-to-play games. We've covered that before here, with some developers choosing to speak out directly on Upload VR and others choosing to remain anonymous but still put in their thoughts on it. It's definitely a weird time, so I pass the question off to you at this point. What do you think about this? Have you heard anything about what's going on with the store? Is it something you really keep up with or not really? And do you find that the store being so full of things like direct pages to Meta Horizon Worlds rooms could be bearing the results of other games that you'd rather be finding and paying for over a lot of this freemium content we've been talking about lately? In other not as exciting news, we talked a while back about an addition that a company was making for the Quest that would add eye tracking to it, and I saw in my email this morning the reservation I had put on Inside's Lumi edition has been canceled. They refunded my initial cost of having that, and now Upload VR is covering that. Inside is pausing its Quest 2 and 3 eye tracking add-ons. This was the idea that a simple addition to the Quest could give you eye tracking, whether used by developers in games or even to navigate and add different ways of operating your Quest. But basically, the $1 refundable deposits are being sent back out to people who did try to order that. The company did state this doesn't mean they're giving up on VR. They think VR has massive potential, but they plan to revisit their pre-VR projects when the time and resources are right. It's unfortunate because it seems like in the news lately we've been talking about a lot of layoffs, cancellations, delays, and more things pulling out of the VR space. So it is one more thing that has me wondering, how is the vibe out there for everybody? As we pivot more towards XR or AI smart glasses, does does it feel like more of these projects that people were excited about for VR specific headsets are going to go away, and we're going to see more of a merge in that direction. It's too bad, but I did kind of wonder even at the time if this was really going to make it to market, so it's not terribly surprising either. But speaking of AI smart glasses, our first ever Ray-Ban Meta giveaway has ended. A lot of you were excited out there. You had suggested that we give away a pair. So we did run our first giveaway, and that has finished. So we'll be announcing that giveaway here shortly, but we do also have a 100K Quest 3 accessories and headset $1,000 bundle going on too. So if you missed the Ray-Ban's Meta glasses and you do want to see that come back, let me know in the comments if you're interested in seeing more of those, or if you're more interested in getting a VR headset instead, we can keep continuing those as best as we can this year. But again, thank you to all of you for your support out there. It's the reason we're able to give so much away on this channel. It's really fun being able to see more of you get in newer headsets upgrade. And a lot of the people who have won headsets said they gave away their old headset to a friend or someone near them too, which has just been really cool to see it spread further like that. So thank you. We've talked a little bit before about your pass-through cameras and what developers can see through it, but it looks like now Meta's support page is suggesting that the Quest's pass-through API is imminent and it's happening, which they describe as enabling all kinds of cutting-edge MR experiences, but also means that there will be a new permission added that allows an app to access the real-time pass-through camera feed from the front of your headset, meaning that instead of it just sending the developers the data points of collection in the room that just look like little dots, it could be fully available video of the room and the surroundings around you. This allows the headset obviously to be able to do better recognition of what it's seeing, whether it's a table or a desk or a chair, and being able to make better mixed reality pass-through. But it does raise privacy concerns for people, knowing that now anything in the room around you, actual images of it could be sent out, whether that's sensitive information, embarrassing information, or anything in between. This was something that Meta had kind of gone back and forth on saying whether or not they were going to give, where Google has said from the start their new Android XR would be doing this. Apple headsets also allow this kind of data access. So I'm curious, how do you feel about that? I'm the kind of person that has a flip phone with cameras on the outside, and I usually put it down so all my cameras are hidden. But I realized that with all the VR headsets and microphones in my house, that there is a lot of cameras and mics around us at all times. I'm curious if it's something you worry much about, especially when you see pictures of big industry leaders like Mark Zuckerberg putting sticky notes over their cameras on their laptops, although they have a reason to be targeted with all of the power and money that they have. But what do you think? Does this mean you're going to start storing your headset inside of a case where it can't see out? Or are you going to tidy up your room a bit more before you do mixed reality experiences? I finally ended up adding Quest Plus over to my Quest. If you don't know what that is, it's a monthly subscription that gives you rotating games on the Quest, access to a backlog, and then 2 new free games every month you can add as long as you keep it similar to like PlayStation Plus or Xbox Game Pass. Although I do have such a backlog, I'm not sure how many of them are going to add to me, but this month 2 more games are being added, Job Simulator and Ghosts of Tabor, but also 11 table tennis. Although some of this is region specific. But basically, if you've been interested in Quest Plus for a while, I've talked about it for a long time. If you're new to Quest, it can be a good opportunity to build up a quick library of games without having to pay a lot, or if like me, you've had it forever, you may own a lot of the games that come up on it. But I did go ahead and sign up a year myself so that I can see what comes down the pipe and how useful it is to me. And it's nice to know that it is supporting some of the paid games, although I don't know what cut they get of that versus if you were to buy their actual games. But how many of you out there actually kept your Quest Plus after the trial ended when you get a new headset? We've also gotten some big game announcements lately, from Civilization, a major IP coming to VR. But now if you're a big anime fan and you know some of the OGs of anime, Neon Genesis Evangelion is getting an official XR game with its first installment coming next year in 2026. This from the studio Pixelity. You might remember them. We got to go to GDC a few years ago with them, interview their CEO there and hang out. Well, they've announced that the hit 90s anime Neon Genesis Evangelion is getting its own full XR game through their studio. They're planning to release this in 3 parts based on all 26 episodes of the anime, and it's already in production and they're working on launching this in 2026. Evangelion is big in the anime community, known as possibly sparking the resurgence of anime in Japan during the 90s and helping lead to a lot of the anime series that came over to the US that people love today. Although we've seen other VR games based on big anime series like Attack on Titan, and some of them having mixed reviews about how well they're doing in the community. I'm excited to see another big name coming, especially when it seems like a lot of the news lately in the VR space has been a little grim and a little less exciting. But what do you think? Are you a fan of the series already, or is it something you might go look into now in preparation for that? Then of course with Civilization coming, that's another big one, although I've seen the community there is a little mixed on whether VR will really add much to it, but I'm interested in seeing them both. So I am about to take off for South by Southwest, thanks to all of you out there, see what's coming up, some new things in the VR space, and get to meet with some companies. But what's going on this year that you're excited about? Are you still excited about VR? Are you looking more towards the future of AR and what that can do for your productivity or just your general life? If the new Ray-Bans have a heads-up display in them that can start to replace your smartphone a little bit, are you willing to start doing that? It's all things I'm interested in. We're going to keep you posted here on the channel, but thank you once again for being here with me, and I'll see you in another reality.